The Boston Strangler. The Boston Strangler, a name given to the perpetrator, or perpetrators, of a series of murders in Boston, Massachusetts, during the early 1960s, remains one of the most notorious cases in American criminal history. The case involved the brutal slayings of 13 women, who were sexually assaulted and strangled, causing widespread fear and panic. The case has been surrounded by controversy and debate, particularly regarding the true identity of the strangler and whether all the murders were committed by the same person. Background. The string of murders attributed to the Boston Strangler began in June 1962 and continued until January 1964. The victims were women aged 19 to 85, living alone in various neighborhoods of Boston. The killer typically gained entry into their apartments by posing as a repairman or using some other ruse. The murders. The murders were characterized by several similarities. The victims were strangled, often with their own stockings. Many of the victims were sexually assaulted. The killer often left the bodies in grotesque positions. There were no signs of forced entry, suggesting the killer had been invited in or had some means of gaining trust. Notable victims. 1. Anna Slezers, June 14, 1962, a 55-year-old seamstress found strangled with her bathrobe cord in her apartment. 2. Mary Mullen, June 28, 1962, an elderly woman found dead in her apartment. Initially thought to have died of a heart attack, later considered a victim. 3. Nina Nichols, June 30, 1962, a 68-year-old woman found strangled with her own stockings. 4. Helen Blake, June 30, 1962, a 65-year-old found in her apartment, also strangled with her stockings. 5. Sophie Clark, December 5, 1962, a 20-year-old student found strangled in her apartment. Her case was unusual as she was much younger than most other victims. Albert DeSalvo. In October 1964, Albert DeSalvo, a handyman, was arrested for a series of sexual assaults unrelated to the Boston Strangler murders. While in custody, DeSalvo confessed to being the Boston Strangler, providing detailed accounts of the murders. His confessions, however, were met with skepticism for several reasons. DeSalvo had a history of mental illness and was known for his compulsive lying. There was no physical evidence directly linking him to the murders. Some details in his confessions were inconsistent with the known facts of the cases. Despite these doubts, DeSalvo was never tried for the Boston Strangler murders. Instead, he was convicted of the sexual assaults and sentenced to life in prison. He was later stabbed to death by a fellow inmate in 1973. Controversy and doubts. The case of the Boston Strangler remains controversial due to several unresolved questions. Multiple killers. Some investigators and experts believe that the murders may have been committed by more than one person, as the methods and victim profiles varied. Confession reliability. DeSalvo's confessions, while detailed, contained inaccuracies and were given while he was under psychological pressure. Lack of evidence. There was no conclusive physical evidence tying DeSalvo to the crime scenes. DNA evidence. In 2013, DNA evidence provided a breakthrough in the case. A water bottle recovered from DeSalvo's nephew matched DNA found at the scene of the final victim, Mary Sullivan, conclusively linking DeSalvo to her murder. This development confirmed DeSalvo's involvement in at least one of the murders but left open the question of whether he was responsible for all of the Boston Strangler killings. Cultural impact. The Boston Strangler case has had a significant impact on American culture and has been the subject of numerous books, films, and documentaries. It has also sparked discussions about the nature of criminal confessions, the reliability of eyewitness testimony, and the methods used in criminal investigations during the 1960s. Conclusion. As we explore the case of the Boston Strangler on True Crime, we will delve into the detailed timeline of events, the investigation, and the broader societal implications of this terrifying period. Join us as we examine the evidence, the impact on the community, and the ongoing debates about the identity and motives of the Strangler. The story of the Boston Strangler serves as a chilling reminder of the complexities of criminal investigations and the enduring quest for justice in the face of unsolved mysteries.